Hi everyone and welcome back to Hit Your Numbers. This week we have an extra special episode where James sat down with Luke Bartram to talk about all things sales and customer success and how the two teams often feel like they are speaking different languages. So if you are either in sales or customer success, you are going to love this episode. If you don't know Luke, he is a recruitment expert. He's the recruitment director at ABR Talent, and he is also the host for the Doing It for Retention podcast. This episode was originally recorded on the ABR Talent podcast. It was such a good episode though, we wanted to share it with you guys too. And if you want to watch the full video, it is on YouTube. Just check out at ABR Talent. I'll put the link in the show notes too. And just before I go, don't forget there is a new free prospecting course on the Sales University. Just visit therevenueenabler.com to learn more. Enjoy the show.
There's powder fat though now.
Yeah, but my hair's weird colour, right? It's kind of... Yeah. Is that it? Are we going? Oh, cool. Okay, we're talking about our hair. That's definitely staying in.
Yeah, I'll keep it.
Yeah, I think we should keep it.
Yeah.
We're back to it. Joined by the one and only James Bissell. How's it going, James?
It's going good. Thanks for having me here.
Absolute pleasure. Great to have you, buddy. So I spend my life talking to CS leaders about all things customer success, and one of the main gripe topics that keep coming up at the moment is, I think Dan Farley pointed this out quite nicely. It's not just been the last 12 months, it's been probably the last 12 years, but there is a disconnect between sales and customer success. So it made sense to bring on a revenue specialist, currently a CRO as well for your own business. Congratulations, 18 months
thank
in.
You. Yeah.
I checked LinkedIn.
Right. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, still counting.
Counting.
Yeah. Every day, strike it off.
How's it going, like running your own business?
Good. Yeah, look, don't get me wrong. It was a scary step to take, right? You know, comfortable VP role. The team was doing well. We're making good progress. Baby was 3 months away.
Wow.
And, you know, I played the old, ask for forgiveness, not permission cards.
Yeah, risky.
So, yeah, quit my role, my VP role in September, I think it was. Went all in November. Never looked back. And we just made our first hire in marketing, which is cool. And, he's only 30 days in. He's doing some great stuff. So,
awesome. Yeah,
it's been amazing. Great experience.
Company is the Revenue Enabler.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, why don't you tell us a little bit about that? Build some credibility first, James, before you start telling people what to do.
Yeah, that's probably a good start, right? Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So tell us about the Revenue Enabler. Tell us a little bit about your background, and we'll take it from there. Yeah,
well, let's start probably from day one. So, didn't have the best upbringing. Didn't do very well at school. Struggled in school, to be fair, and left school with no qualifications, although my CV probably says otherwise.
They never check.
Yeah, I mean, look, I have this thing about CVs, right? No one takes them to the post office and gets some rubber stamps. So
this is not professional advice.
Yeah, don't take this
Don't lie
advice.
about your GCSEs.
Exactly, right? But there has to be some level of interrogation on the CV because who validates them, right? Anyway.
I am a doctor, by the way. That's all true.
CV surgeon.
Yeah, exactly.
So left school, worked in a building site and was having a good time, and then started to rain. I thought, hey, I need to get indoors. This sucks now. So got myself some in kind of office work, and then got myself my very first sales role because I had no experience. I joined one of these pyramid schemes where you had to wear a suit, go knock on people's front doors and try and sell them.
Door knocking.
Oh,
you
bad to see dogs
person.
and cats. I was great causes though. I wasn't doing like home insolation or Sky. Yeah. I was selling.
Sorry, I don't mean that.
There's anything wrong with selling those things.
Some of the best salespepeople. Jordan Belfort was I guess not the best example.
I mean, really. I'm happy for you to compare me with such great legends, but So signing people up to Battersea Dogs and Cats Home, British Red Cross, which was great in the summer. Great weather, out with your pals, having a good laugh. The challenge is in the UK, it rains most of the year. So when it's dark at 4, you're trying to break into ask to come in to, somebody's house, an old lady's house, and ask for their bank details. Yeah. That's pretty tough. So moved into inside sales and then worked my way through, like we'd call them SDR now, but like telemarketing roles, inside sales. Got into the field doing face-to-face sales in like IT, tech, that kind of stuff. And then pandemic hit. Working for an organization, we were selling car data. Nobody was driving, so we had nothing to sell. So left that, spent a couple of months gardening, which was good fun, and then got a knock on the door virtually from a guy that had just become an NED at one of the biggest VC firms in the UK. And he was like, hey, you sold to me back when I was running my business. I liked how you ran the sales process. This portfolio company's now raised some money. They're looking for their first sales hire. I think you'd make a good fit. And I thought, well, I've not been a VP of sales before, but had a pretty good track record selling, so I'll give it a go. And first 3 months were pretty bumpy.
Yeah.
VCs breathing down the back of your neck, trying to figure it all out while needing to deliver revenue. But something clicked. And we grew the business 1,000%, over the next 2 years. Obviously, that's where we started properly working together.
Yep.
And you helped me hire some great people.
I broke in. Took some hostages,
bent some arms.
Yeah.
It was a great soundboard, and we hired some great people, and had a good run at it.
Oh, some great times as well. And you subsequently ended up in the same office space as us.
Literally, like 2 doors down, right? Just we had a better office,
Yeah, technically, ours was better decorated, but
ours was bigger.
Yeah.
Depends
what you value, mate. Size or quality.
Size.
Okay, fair. You
absolutely.
You won.
So, then left that role after a good run and moved into another VP sales role with a bit more advanced organization, a bit more mature, selling to, your Amazons, massive organizations, and turned an underperforming team around. And that's when I was kind of walking down the beach one morning with the missus as we did and having a coffee. And I was like doing a bit of coaching for some sales reps before work and after work just to make a little bit more money ready for the kids. Yeah. And I was like, I became a VP of sales because I'm passionate about developing people. I think that's the only reason you should really lead people, is because you want to make them great so that you build a fantastic org. And the playbook just seems to work wherever we go. Just got to swap out some of the variables, tweak it for the company context. And that's why I just said, hey, look, I think I might be onto something. If I don't do it now, I probably never will. So let's just go for it. And that's where I quit my job and went all in on the revenue enabler.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's going great. I mean, you've won some awesome customers. I know you can't plug them, but yeah. Awesome. How do people find you if they want to?
Yeah, LinkedIn, pretty active on LinkedIn. Yeah. So come check me out on LinkedIn.
You're always walking along the beach, putting the video out there. So
always.
Obviously you maintain that.
Yeah.
The vision came when walking along the beach, and that's your staple sales.
I need to go back to that spot though, and marketing keeps reminding me I should record a story video in the exact spot where we had that conversation, because I was on the fence a little bit, and I'm so glad I jumped off on this side.
Yeah. What you'll find is if you compare the videos in a couple of years, there's a progression of grey. Yeah.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, I'm only 33 years old. You won't believe it. But that's what being a VP in a startup does to you. It ages you considerably.
Yeah. Well, I'm only 25, so
you're not.
I'm not.
No one's buying that.
Yeah. Someone might buy that. There might be someone that, if anyone buys that, just please in the comments.
Let us know.
Let me know.
Yeah.
There's going to be an anonymous account set up now.
100% of you.
Lucy Bartram.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Good. Well, look, I'm really keen to jump on to this. I don't want to call it a division between customer success and sales, because I don't necessarily think it's that kind of clear cut, but there's clearly a divide in opinions, broadly speaking, when you read what's being posted on LinkedIn, and there's always kind of one perspective. And it's quite easy for me as well to kind of tune into just customer success. But quite recently, I've followed a lot more, sales literature and a lot more sales influencers putting information out there. And we've been connected for a long time, not LinkedIn, so to speak. But I see a lot of the stuff you put out there. It then draws my eyeballs to other places. Yeah. And it's just really interesting because there's some really great CS and business leaders, investors that are starting to talk a lot more kind of sales centric when it comes to CS, and it's good to get kind of a revenue focused person and talk about it. So why do you think there is a disconnect?
I always feel like we come back to this place where it's like marketing and sales have this disconnect. I think a big part of it's around the mission and alignment at go-to-market level, at leadership, so the CRO or COO, whoever's ultimately owning revenue at an exec level. We're not setting the next team up for success. So actually I think the problem goes all the way back to product. So most of the time product teams come up with an idea to build a product or a new feature or whatever it might be, most of them don't speak to customers, so they end up spending millions in engineering resource to build a product that nobody wants to use. Marketing are then the next team that get involved. They need to talk to the market about it. So the handover from product's been poor because product haven't really done the right things that they need to. Not all of the time, but a lot of the time if you actually lift up the hood and look underneath.
Yeah.
So marketing then have now got to go and run product marketing and, you know, programs to drive awareness and opportunities into the sales org, enablement, things like that. But they don't really have the context. Marketing also terrifyingly don't speak to customers enough, but they build websites and campaigns. So they end up, if you go to like, I don't know, take a website, I hope nobody is listening from any like large...
Well, might need to beep it out.
We'll bleep that. But like you go to any like
This
large...
is James' opinion.
Yeah.
Lawsuit
absolutely.
to James.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I'm going to leave the building very quickly in a minute. You'll never find me, I'm going underground. But like, if you go look at like a lot of these big tech companies, it's really hard to understand what they do by going to their homepage, right?
Well, we find it all the time when we're prospecting businesses. It's kind of like, what's the angle here?
Yeah.
How do we relate some case studies to what you sell?
Yeah.
It's like, I actually don't know what you sell.
Yeah,
or we have a briefing call in with a new customer, and obviously you want to go in there super prepared. So you research the company, but you find that you still can't really articulate the proposition because there's so much to it.
Yeah.
So that's always our first question. How do you, if you're in a pub, how would you explain your business to one of your friends that just want the high level?
Yeah. I have to use AI quite a lot with some website. I drop the website and like, talk to me like I'm a kid and tell me what they do. And it's really easy to understand then. So the knock-on effect of, you know, product into marketing now need to drive opportunities. They don't really know how to position it, so they drive them into sales, and then sales go, you're just chucking grenades over the fence at us. And they're going off. And then there's this war, right, between sales and marketing, and that's kind of where it all starts. Pressure starts to build up, which we've seen, right?
Yeah.
And sales are under pressure then to hit this, in most cases, number that's come from no data. It's like, hey, we just need to do 30 million quid this year, but where's that come from? It just feels like the right thing to do.
Yeah.
So sales now are under pressure. And then, you know, they start, you know, doing quarterly discounts because they need to create urgency because they don't know how to create urgency because there's these big skill gaps everywhere. And then CS are on the receiving end of it. So I think the challenge between sales and CS is that it ripples back from the very top. And CS are a bit frustrated. I don't know if we can swear, they're a bit pissed off, right?
Yeah.
So then the next thing they naturally do is look back at whoever gave them the customer, and that's sales. So I think that's where it stems from, personally.
So what if you were speaking to a CS professional that's kind of doing or going through that at the moment, what advice would you give to someone in customer success when it comes to understanding the perspective of a salesperson?
Yeah, I think it's about getting alignment with the teams, right? And I think, again, this sits at, like, the problem that I'm trying to solve is that nobody gets a degree in B2B sales. Like 70% of people report they never get any formal sales training. I don't mean you turned up to a Zoom call for 60 minutes. I'm talking about a program where you acquired skills and they were reinforced. Yeah. And that's why Salesforce finds every year that, like, last year, 84% of sellers miss quota, right? So
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Bonkers.
84% of sellers miss quota in 2024.
Yeah.
Jesus,
absolutely.
okay.
And I can't remember the stat, but I think it's like 20% of sales teams carried the rest of the sales team.
Right.
It got a couple of like top performers that, you know, closed the gap, you know.
That's crazy.
Bonkers. So, like, for me, I think the only way we'll ever solve that problem is if the CEO says to the CRO, part of your compensation plan is tied to upskilling, reskilling, and enabling the sales org to do all the things they need to do. I don't see that happening. But I think that's the only way you'll solve it is because the compensation plan drives behaviours, and most sales leaders' comp doesn't feature upskilling and reskilling. It's about getting a quota, and they park those initiatives because reevaluating their sales tech stack or blaming recruitment for not bringing in the right people. Yeah. So let's just burn and churn and then just go through these like mishires. We'll never solve the problem. So I think from a CS perspective, how we solve the problem, I think whoever owns revenue at the end of the day, that could be the CFO, whatever, in the org, has to create this alignment and say, this is our production line. If you think about like a manufacturing warehouse, you know, let's take an Audi, right? Feel free to talk about Audi. I know you love them. There's a conveyor belt, right? And the car's being built. It has to go through checkpoints before it can leave the production line, and you can drive away with it in bad shape. Sorry, to drive the wedge in there. But
all I can think about now is Audi.
Yeah, good. It's working.
Yeah, put the mic down.
Put the mic down. Yeah. But yeah, like I think that's the problem is like if there's no alignment, then people are just like skipping 7 parts of the production line, and when the car gets to the end, there's no doors and a steering wheel's missing, but there's a brake and an accelerator.
If you can hear a beeping outside, that's my Audi being collected.
Being towed away. He's missed the payments.
I've missed the payment. Yeah.
So we're really hoping this podcast is a hit. Cause
yeah, exactly. It needs to be a hit, and we're not sponsored, so yeah. Okay, interesting. So one of the things I hear a lot actually, and it's probably worth picking up, and you kind of touched on it, is at the end of the month, deals seem to, regardless of a really well-defined ICP, best intentions seem to slip, and deals get pushed through that perhaps aren't ICP, they're not perfect, and customer success are kind of sat there having to pick up the pieces. Yeah. And there's a lot of frustration there. You see it all the time. Yeah. What have you got to say about that? Like you're responsible for
the pressure now. I should have spent more time in the gym training shoulders. Feel like I'm about to carry the audience. But look, I think there's a lack of, I don't want to say common language, but like a lot of different pockets of the organization, different teams, departments, they'll have like a set of principles or a framework that they're following, like devs, for example, right? But again, sales, I was speaking to a CRO the other week who he's looking at a £25 million forecast. He's got very little confidence in any of it because his whole sales organization's running their own sales process. The qualification is different rep by rep. Right. So, that's why I'm kept very busy at the moment training medic, and I've implemented it 3 times as a sales leader, and now I help others operationalize it because there's just so many deals stalling, getting stuck in the funnel, mainly because there's skill gaps. Sellers can't actually, I've got a post going out about this soon where it's like, sellers are actually being told by their prospect that the customer's happy with status quo. They're actually fairly confident in the process or structure or whatever it is they're doing. Sellers can't hear that though because they've got a quota, right? And they're just hearing that what they want to hear, happy is. So the pipeline's bloating in the middle of the sales funnel. At the beginning of the quarter, it looks really good. We've got a massive number to hit. We've got loads of pipeline, right? And then like someone puts a pin in it halfway through and then panic stations kick in. Shit, we've got 2 times coverage, but we haven't got a 50% win rate. We've got a 20% win rate. We need 5 times coverage. So we now need to get our discount codes out like a coupon book, and we need to start flicking them into pipeline and doing a lot of damage. So like for me, the skill gaps really start to open up and you realize how big they are midway through the quarter. But if you're in a mid-market or enterprise sales motion, it's pretty much impossible to build the pipe and close it in that period. Yeah. So you get desperate.
So how does that help a CS professional though? Because that kind of explains the why. Yeah. But you're still chucking a grenade over the fence. Yeah. And I'm jumping on top of it.
Yeah. Well, one, I think sellers, if they have to do that in the interim before they operationalize like a proper process, like the handover has to be solid. Like every now and then you've been under pressure, you've put a deal through, but you have to let your colleagues know who've got to land that deal, then they've got to expand it, and then they've got to retain it, what I'm about to hand over. Here's the risk. There's risk in any deal until there's dry ink on the contract, and then we don't know how that's going to open up when the customer actually puts their hands on it. Like Gartner finds 60% of buyers suffer with buyer's remorse. Right. Because it looks good in the brochure. Yeah. Sorry about your Audi again. When you physically, when you put your bum on the seat and your hands on the steering wheel and you go to hit go and it doesn't, you're like, wait a second. I thought I bought a high-performing Audi. Yeah. I've actually bought a 60-year-old Fiesta. Yeah. All right. So like that's, so customers have got this different expectation of product. So it's like, hey, here's the risk, but let's use this framework called MEDIC or MEDPIC, depending on which variation you use. And I can say, hey, here's our champion. This is why they've got a vested interest in our success. This is what they got to gain if this is a success. They want a promotion, reputation, whatever it might be. Yeah. This is like the problem that they're experiencing, and how they've identified this problem is these metrics are suffering. And like if we hand over the right stuff, like decision criteria, these are the things that we had to satisfy during the evaluation process. It needed an SAP integration. It needed to pull data in from this environment. It needed to have a report builder because they needed to build custom reports, depending on whatever question they were being asked by their customer or whatever. This is what we need you to implement. So like there's still risk, but with the right framework, at least we can let our colleagues know in customer success, hey, these are the risks with every deal. just want you to be aware of them, just so that when you go to have a conversation, you put your best foot forward.
Okay.
You're not on the back foot.
So it feels like you're talking to the person that would sit above all of this, right? Because they're going to be more responsible for the overarching framework.
Yeah.
But if you're a CSM right now and you're suffering from deals being chucked over, what could you do to better understand the situation, better equip yourself to deal with it?
Yeah, I think if you can get access to, like, if your org's using like Gong or some kind of call recording technology, like, get in there. There's so many answers in the conversations. Go in there, spend half an hour. Like, again, one of the things that we're building at the Rev Enabler is these sales assistants where you can drop a discovery transcript, so any transcript, drop it into our AI model, and within 30 seconds it's going to tell you like all of the great areas and then the coaching opportunities. Just get curious with AI and build your own version for handovers. Dump all of the seller's transcripts in and say, hey, now tell me why the customer wants to buy. Tell me what's the risk. What do we need to do to make this customer successful? And build yourself your own customer success plan for this specific account, and then just work with them on, operationalizing, going live.
Yeah. I think it's a really good point, just connecting more with sales and, understanding perspective.
Yeah.
And I think if we talk about, Medic, for example, you mentioned it a couple of times. Have you got any resources that you could push a CS professional to, again, just to understand what a salesperson is going through?
Yeah.
To then better understand the kind of sales process. And I think it's a really good point. The handover is so important.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes there's frustration because of the lack of detail within a handover. And I think good proactive individuals, they're entitled to feel frustrated.
Yeah.
But don't let that then block you from trying to figure out the answers, because at the end of the day, you still work for the business as a CS professional. So it kind of doesn't matter. Right, the customer's landed. You've got to figure out now, how do we best retain this business? How do we understand, like, why did they buy the software?
Yeah.
How do we talk to that?
Yeah.
And then I think that's sometimes what's missing, because I think we all get frustrated and we blame the other department.
Yeah.
And it's funny you mentioned sales and marketing, because this was a massive problem with sales and marketing, probably like 20 years ago, like a long time ago now. And I've spoken about this a million times. I put posts out about it, but marketing was always deemed the colouring in department, the creative department. They go to events, they do all the nice looking stuff, visually great, but it wasn't really measurable.
Yeah.
And it's probably because it wasn't.
Yeah.
So marketing could have just been, well, that's unfair. We do lots of really lovely creative stuff. But instead, you had good leaders that went, okay, we'll show you the value here.
Yeah.
And by doing this is what we generate.
Yeah.
This is what we've given your sales team.
Yeah.
And this is the revenue that's contributed to the business. And it's not necessarily this isn't the handover bit between sales and CS, but this is CS like taking a bit of responsibility to be like, right, okay, there is a challenge here at handover stage. And yes, ideally you want the leader to champion this, right? But let's say they're not, then there's only really one person that can do that, and that's you. So I think there's an opportunity as opposed to a problem, and that's where I see really good CS professionals advancing their career quickly, because they're the guys and girls that are figuring out the problems in businesses and not complaining about them. It's all right to be pissed off, like that's natural, right? It's human nature. But pissed off with some action, then you're gonna change it up. So
let's be honest as well, like all of us, even us in this room, right, we've got skill gaps.
No.
Well, you're just different gravy, right? But like the rest of us, actual humans, we have skill gaps. It's absolutely fine as long as we're working to close them. The problem is, like, so many people have got this ego, like, like I'm tenured, like I've been doing this for 10 years, 15 years, like well, the game's changed, I'm afraid, right? Like buying has got so hard. I always talk about like the sales and CS problem stems from the buyer's problem. So if you think about the economy that we're in now, pre-COVID, anyone could buy anything, nice to have, something that just felt, like, let's just take a punt on it. We got plenty of cash, right? And we've all bought those, I bought loads.
If you
of
go
stuff.
back to the Audi, I swear, I'm taking you down.
Jeez, when I was VP of sales, I bought stuff just for, it looks good. Like, just give it a go. If it moves the needle, let's try it. If not, switch it. Oh, you can't do that anymore, right? So buying's getting harder. More people are getting involved. There's like 8, 12, 15 people. I was speaking to someone the other day, got 30 stakeholders in an enterprise sales process. They got to find out who are the champions, who are the competitors' champions, who are the opponents, who's against it, all of this stuff, right? So you got that world you live in. Finance are getting involved in more conversations because they need to find cash to fund the initiative. And you've got buyer's remorse, and people are skeptical. They've bought it, been burnt, got egg on their face, don't want it again. They don't want to lose reputation. So if it becomes hard to be a buyer, think how hard it is to sell in that world. Then think how hard it is to renew the bad stuff that's being handed over. So like, yes, we've got loads of skill gaps in our organisation, but also the buyer's world has changed, and it's only going to keep changing. I mean, what is it, like 70% of buyers don't want to speak to salespeople anymore. They'd rather go through self-source. I even saw a McKinsey report where people are prepared to spend $50,000 going to a website, putting their credit card in enterprise software so they don't have to speak to a salesperson.
Wow.
Because they're so skeptical where they're going to get the truth.
Yeah.
You know, so like
crazy.
We've got these skill gaps, CS, sales, marketing, all of it. You mentioned marketing there. Like, we've got to get out of this thinking where we hire experienced people and then don't invest in them. Like Usain Bolt, from his very first run to his very last run, guy's broken several records. He still had a trainer and a coach every day watching him sprint 100 meters and giving him feedback. Say, hey dude, like, we need to work on this. Like, I don't know what's happened, but this isn't going the way it used to go.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, I've got all of the medals, but I'm still open-minded. I'm still coachable. I can still adapt because I need to change. I'm getting older. You know, the competition's stepping up. They're getting faster. There's more technology for athletes. I have to keep moving the needle, and that's why I didn't get left behind.
Yeah. I think it's about having good leaders as well that can identify where you need coaching, because I think we're all pretty terrible, aren't we? Sometimes.
Don't about you.
Not me. No. But genuinely, we all need to seek some external input to say, think you can move the needle here. Yeah. That's great, but I think you can do more of this. Yeah. And this is how. And when you think about customer success teams, there probably isn't enough focus on understanding the revenue impact, because perhaps the leader isn't as invested in that as perhaps they should be.
Yeah.
So I would encourage CS professionals to seek that out themselves. Like, you've got a whole sales team there, and if you can get more connected to the sales team, speak to them, understand like how are they selling, or how are they extracting, because actually a lot of the skills that a good salesperson will have will be very similar to that of CS. You know, it's all about discovery, pain point, and really like playing to that. Sales isn't, you know, sell me this pen, feature dumping. That doesn't work. No. It's really uncovering why would you need to buy this software? Are we actually solving a problem for you? Yeah. And that translates to customer success. So I would encourage CS teams to, and again, I think I mention his name every time I do any form of podcast, but Rab Dalawal did a really good article on this. It's all about getting more connected to the sales team, and it's still a repeat thing being talked about. It's still something that's not happening. Yeah. So obviously the message isn't getting out broadly enough.
Yeah. I was going to talk about like CS, like if you're frustrated, like one, get somebody that can actually help you find a good role, but two, like pick something you're passionate about. Yeah. Sales people struggle a lot because they're trying to sell something they don't buy into. They just needed a job. So like, are you actually working for something? Are you trying to sell something? Are you trying to renew something that you're actually not that fired up about?
It's a really good point. Yeah. It goes back to a lot of businesses now value domain experience. Yeah. Because if you're I think I always use the same example, but if you're a teacher that has used certain CRM platforms, you're using software. Yeah. You're the buyer, you're the end user, you're the person frustrated with what's good about it, what's not good about it. You see the value. Yeah. How much more powerful is that if you're now the person that can wrap your arms around someone else using that software, but I understand what you're going through. Yeah. You know, so I think that's a really good point, and that's why domain experience is becoming more and more important. Yeah. And I think it depends on like the setup of the business, because some businesses have the setup where they have the framework where they can train either side. So some businesses need really good solid CS skills, and maybe the product's not that complicated, so they can train you on the product, they can train you on the domain. And I won't use any examples because I'm sure that might cause some offense, But if you've got, let's say, a super complex banking API linked software, having someone from that space, so domain expertise, and being able to then train them on the CS expertise, you might have the framework that's set up for that. And I always, whenever I speak to a business, I always want to understand, well, I don't really care about the job title. It's what problem are you looking to solve?
Yeah.
And I put something out about this on LinkedIn. It's people usually hire in the image of their competitors. So they're like, oh, we need a CSM or we need a salesperson. Great, let's go and get the best salesperson or best CSM from this business. But it's just the wrong fit.
Yeah. Different
stages, different persona that they're selling to, different product set. Is it more complex, less complex? It's not that straightforward. So it's really about understanding what is the problem you're looking to solve and then tailoring that spec, that requirement to extract the right individual.
Yeah.
Right, sorry, that was not quick fire, is it? So, what's worse, James? Over-promising or under-delivering?
Oh, Jesus. That's a podcast in its own, isn't it?
Yeah.
Then we could break that down all day long. God. Yeah.
I asked you as a salesperson, right?
Yeah. Always ask for forgiveness.
Always ask for forgiveness.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you think Richard Branson's kind of driven that narrative? Like, say yes now and then figure out later?
Oh, 100%.
Don't we have a bit too much of that? I mean, if 86, did you say 86% of people, 84% missed sales quota last year?
Yeah.
It sounds like people are saying yes, just not figuring out the secondary.
No one's present most of the time, that's why. Yeah.
This is controversial. Who's under more pressure in the business? Mm-hmm. The AE at the end of the quarter or the CSM?
Oh, Jesus. I would say just based on being in exec meetings that unfortunately AEs are under a bit more pressure because I think the VP of sales is looked at through a tighter lens just because of how they hold themselves in those conversations. So like, for me, I think, again...
If you can hear the horns outside, that's the salespeople.
That's the salespeople going, go on, lads. Legend. I've probably walked down there, a bunch of high fives, champagne and everything.
Butt slaps.
All of that. Look, I think, the problem is, right, is if CS churn, sales not only have to hit the number, they have to replace that revenue. So I think, look, there's a massive argument to get everyone in a room, right, and align on a framework. It doesn't have to be Medic. But it has to be some kind of common language that everyone in go-to-market uses so that we stop building product that no one wants to use. Marketing actually talk about it in the right way. Sales sell it in the right way. And CS then have maybe less customers, but more successful customers that will grow and expand and buy more and become raving fans.
Cool. One thing you wish customer success understood?
One thing I wish customer success understood. I think they wish they understood the challenge that sellers have from like an outbound perspective. Like trying to defeat status quo in any world is tough, but trying to do it in the world that we live in now is really, really tough. So I think I just wish they understood that, we go through some days where we might make 100 cold calls in a day, speak to 2 people and have the phone get hung up on or get told to do one.
Yeah.
And again, a lot of the time, salespeople get no training.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're a surgeon and you're going to do open heart surgery and no one's shown you how to do it before.
Yeah.
I'm not saying sales is the same thing, but like we do drive the economy. So there's CS, right? The whole revenue team does, and it blows my mind that we just don't set sellers up for success. We don't train them. We don't reinforce the training. We don't change the playbook when things change. So I think just appreciating that, we might hand over some stuff that's not best fit sometimes, but the pressure of you need to make 100 dials, you need to find the data, you then need to run them through the sales process, and you've got this forecast meeting where you're being grilled. You're being forced to commit deals when you don't want to. I think there's that pressure and look, it's high impact, high pressure. It's kind of what we buy into, but sometimes just I think maybe just understanding that it's not the same sometimes. Yeah.
So as a sales leader, how do you articulate what customer success is within an organization?
Yeah, I think there's been this term thrown around called mutual success plans, where it's like a spreadsheet or whatever. And these are the steps that the salesperson needs to go through with the customer to close the deal, right? And unfortunately, sales teams spend more money and time on buying the software to document it than actually training sellers on how to do it, execute it, how to qualify it, etc., influence it. I call them, and I know a few people, other people do as well, call them go live plans. Because if you think about the customer's journey, when the DocuSign's completed, it might end for the salesperson. That's when it really starts for the customer. So like driving the process through to go live, I think is really, really important. So like having that alignment of this is why the customer's buying, this is how they're going to measure success, this is their current state. So most customers are getting the job done without you, regardless. But at some point it gets to a stage where it's no longer effective or, you know, efficient. So they have to do something about it, and that's where they want to go to the future state or the desired state. You know, I think about like a cliff top. You got one side that's raining and one side's really sunny, but there's a chasm in the middle. There's a drop you can't get across, and the seller basically is laying down the bridge for the customer to walk across and go onto the sunny patch, right? And we have to articulate how they do that and build trust and confidence in that. So building some kind of path to success, I think, is really, really important. And then when you've got when they operate as two functions, if you go into a revenue floor, you've got CS in one corner, sales in one corner, and marketing in another corner. Like, these guys should be sat next to each other. They should be talking the same way, having conversations. You know, we've seen some of the organizations that we've worked in, like CS will hop on a call at end of quarter and go, I'll help you get it over the line. Because I'm going to need a favor from you at some point as well. And you nailed it earlier. So you said, like, these are problems, but they're massive opportunities. Like, now what we can do for the next couple of years is really figure out how we create high-performing revenue organizations. Because before pandemic, I don't want to say anyone could sell, but it wasn't anywhere near as tough as it is now. So like, these are the moments where we can actually build proper structure, proper alignment, proper common language, so that every part of our business talks the same way, and we just create this really nice like production line. I can't remember the chap's name, but he calls it like the revenue factory. Right. Like, how do we manufacture a revenue? We need to have all of our stuff in place so that when something drops on the conveyor belt, at the start, when it gets up at the end, it looks the same, it works the same every time.
When you're dealing with a customer that's going through that kind of, you solve the deal, going through the onboarding phase, how do you explain to them what the CSM actually is for them? Does that make sense? Didn't articulate that very well.
they're the person that's going to help us realize the value that we've quantified in our business case. So if I'm selling sales training and enablement to a sales leader, and we've identified this is the problem, this is the root cause issue, and these are the metrics we have to improve: win rate, velocity, deal size, forecast accuracy, whatever it is. We document them in a business case to create a cost justification. So based on delivering this training and the repetition we've had, we believe we can make these improvements in this time frame. Does that justify the 50, 60, 70k, whatever it is for the program? So when we hand that over to the customer success, like, hey, here's the pathway to success. This is why the customer's buying. This is how they're going to measure success. And when we hit that milestone in that QBR, that might be QBR3, this is when we're going to ask them, hey, look, how do we earn more of your business? Like, we told you we were going to do this. We've done it in this time period, if not earlier, because we're aligned. And we've worked together closely on the implementation plan. We're actually solving massive problems in other functions. Can you sponsor a conversation with Julie, your head of marketing, or Steve, your finance manager, or whatever it might be, so that I can start to multi-thread through that account and expand the account? But again, most sellers hand over a customer, they don't know the real problem because they didn't do discovery. They're told to show the product as soon as you can, and then it becomes in a product conversation. They have no idea how the champion is going to justify the cost. And if you're not in that conversation, you at least need to have it documented so that you can sell through the champion. Right? And so that when that's handed over, what's missing? All of the value. So that the CSM, they used to drive me mad when I was a VP of sales when I bought sales tools. CSM would jump on and say, hey, why did you buy it? I've just spent 6 months with your AE, your sales engineer, and your SDR, and we've put a plan together. Like, why is that not in front of you? Why are you not hopping on the call and saying, hey, this is what I know?
Yeah.
This is how you're getting the job done without us. This is why you need to use us because of these challenges. The way you're going to measure the success over the next 3 years partnering with us is we're going to see this metric, and this metric go this way. Is that correct?
Yeah.
But like, I would love that. But in the years of being a VP of sales and buying stuff, I don't think anyone rocked up to a call.
Yeah.
And did that.
That comes down to getting connected to sales, right?
Totally.
There's a dual responsibility, and that's why I'd be really interested if we can share some bits around MedPick. I appreciate we need to kind of wrap this up, so if we can share some resources that people can go to, explore it. I think the key message here is get more, connected to the sales team. Like, let's understand more about like the why, the reasons clients have bought the software in the first place. I guess the one question I would have though, just to wrap up, is you mentioned like on the third QBR, you're setting the customer up. At that point, that's when we should be talking about how do we grow this, how do we bring on more users or move into other areas of the business, depending on the product.
Yeah.
Who should have that conversation? The customer success manager who's been managing the account, or the salesperson that originally sold it in?
It depends on how the org is structured personally. It depends if like you treat CS as like revenue generation or you see them as like training managers.
Yeah.
Right.
But what determines that?
Well, I think depends on the maturity of the business. If you've got a CSM that's doing loads of product training but isn't going through and going into like Sales Navigator, doing stakeholder mapping and going, well, I sell to these 7 departments, we've only got one. This person's my champion. I'm unlocking value for them, which is why they're a champion.
Yeah.
We're following through on our promise. Now I'm going to earn the right to say, hey, Luke, I was looking on LinkedIn. I know we're having a lot of value over here. We also help with, colleagues over in here. Julie, I don't know if you know Sophie in this department, but I'd love to have a conversation with them and see how we unlock more value for your business because we're doing it with your peers. Would you be open to doing that?
Yeah.
But we have to earn the right to do it. So we can't do it on the first touch point. We need to implement the customer, help them realize the value that we promised them. We need to follow through on that promise. And then we should either do the research, do the heavy lifting, and then come in and say, hey, here's our ask, here's our recommendation. If they're a champion, they'll naturally want to do it.
Yeah.
If they don't, then what does that tell you? It's a possible red flag. Because based on qualification, they want you to be successful because they've got something to gain. So, and there's lots of opportunities and there are problems, but there are huge opportunities for CS, for sales, for marketing, for products, for everyone, enablement, ops to come together and align on that.
Awesome. Well, let's wrap it up there. I'm going to call this part 1 because I think there's so many more conversations we can have around this. I've literally got like 1,000 questions and I think there's so much value you can add here.
Maybe we'll just do a podcast where we just meet up once a week. There's no new guests.
Yeah.
We'll just
chat. No, because my mental health's really important, and the more you talk about my Audi, I'm getting really upset, James. I could see Nick's out there going, he needs to stop talking about the Audi.
I'm just priming you, so I'm ready for I'm just got a referral now with BMW. They're going to reach out.
Oh, nice. It's a sales tactic. Okay.
I'm priming you. Like I said, I'm just starting to put some salt on the wound.
Yeah.
Always be selling.
Yeah, I like it. You could see my foot tapping though, couldn't you?
Yeah.
That film.
That's you trying to find the accelerator.
Falling Down. Is that Robert De Niro? Falling Down. It's Michael Douglas, not Robert De Niro. They're the film Falling Down.
I think you should come prepared.
It's a fucking great film, that is. Excellent film. Thanks for joining us once again. Give James a follow. James Bissell, the Revenue Enabler. Obviously, thumbs up, comment, all that jazz.
Good stuff.
Thanks so much, James.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.